Member and Remote Services Manager.
Member and remote services manager. I'm sorry, folks. It's been on the road for 4 weeks. So I'm a little. Would like to point out that we are going to be recording this presentation today, and it's going to be a little bit different than we've done before because here we are in February. By now, most of you should be using this system. So today, we're basically just going to be doing a Q&A. We're going to allow you to ask those questions that you may have. We can show you some examples as we go through this today. Paula's got several great examples, some that are showing attachments, some are showing that the responses that you need. Again, the nice thing about this program, guys, is I'm a visual learner, so we're going to show you today what it actually looks like, and hopefully both sides will understand this. If you're an excavator on the call today, I want you to understand that your job is very easy. You're just reading the codes. So we will discuss some of the different codes that you may see today. If you are a member on the call and you have not gotten your username or password, please, that is step number one. We've got to get this taken care of going forward. So with that, I'll kick it over to Paul to see if there's anything she wants to add. And like I said, this is going to be a little bit different because we want you guys to ask those questions that you have.
For sure. So yeah, so a couple things that I just want to talk about are uh, questions that my department are getting most frequently. So first of all, it's from the excavator side. Where's their question always is, where do I find the responses from the members? So a couple different ways. So you already see our websites up here right now. Easy peasy. Go to juliebeforeyoudig.com. Upper right hand corner, you see where it says check ticket response. If you click there, it's going to take you to what we refer to as our display page. So kind of right now it's generic. You're going to enter in this field, you're going to enter in the ticket number that you want to know the response is about. So I kind of grabbed a ticket from yesterday, or actually I think it was on Monday. Type the ticket in there, going to hit that little magnifying glass. Okay, this is going to bring up the ticket. So under the details, this should be your ticket number, a brief description of your ticket. It's going to tell you the company name. So I picked Bob's Bullet Boring. That's a company that I just happen to randomly grab a ticket from. The locate by, that's a key date there. So that should be the begin date for your locate request. Now, if you get a code 50, that means that you have given, or one of the members have reached out to you as the excavator and asked for additional time. They've documented everything, sent you an email. You said, yep, I accept. So that date is going to change in the positive response system. Okay. It won't change on your ticket, but it'll change in the positive response system. Okay. So again, this is your details. Any attachments would be here. I hear a lot that the members are saying, oh, the locators are saying that they don't get a copy of the tickets. Send them here. Give them your ticket number, send them here. Your attachments are also going to be here. Okay. So if you were to click on view, you'll be able to see the image here. Some cases you're not going to be able to see just by clicking view. You might have to actually download it, but you can send the locators here and say, hey, take a look here. You can see my attachments there. Further down, pending. These means that these companies have not responded to your request yet. Okay, so they still have until the 11th, which is today, by midnight to get that done. All right, so they still need to respond by today. Otherwise, you're going to see if they don't respond by tonight, all of those companies would be a 999 tomorrow. All right, but going down a little further under responses, all of these companies have already responded. So in the response section, you're going to see a code number, and then in description, it's going to tell you what that code represents. All right. And sometimes they'll add comments to their responses. I've seen stuff like with the mark saying that, I don't know, I've seen a lot of details there,
Yep.
things like that. So they may add additional comments there. They may also include attachments for their markings. Some of them like to take photographs, upload those here too. That's just another option. Some of them may never do that. But now you keep in mind though, some of the members, and I'm going to say most these days, um, they're no longer required to mark an OK on the ground if they're clear. They're no longer required to email you an all clear. They're no longer required to phone you with an all clear. So if you have not check this before you go to the job site, you're missing out on some information. So So again, this is one way you can view it. And then the other way is if you get an email copy of your locate request, whether you're doing it through remote ticket entry or if you're doing it with an operator and the operator asks, would you like an email copy of your request? At the very, very bottom of that ticket, you're going to see a hyperlink that says, I think it says view map image or something like that. If you click that, it's going to give you the map image, but it's also going to connect you to the positive response display. So it'll take you to the same area. Okay. So I wanted to bring that up.
Mhm.
And then the other one is for members. So
Can we
again,
talk about the excavator real quick? Can we go back?
oh,
Do you
sure.
care? Just
Absolutely.
because I
No,
want
not at
to
all.
I want to tie off what you said, guys. For the excavators in the room, now we're talking to you because if you put that one back in there, Paula.
Yep.
So right off the bat, guys, as Paula had mentioned, the very top is your ticket details. There's your dig number. There's your street address. That's your cross street, the company doing the digging, and your locate by. Now, Paula had mentioned something very, very important there, guys, is now you have the ability to attach a map of your locate request. And if you want to click on that, Paula, if you can, so we can view it, guys. So here's what the excavator sent in. He's asking for to locate everything in that pink area. Now, the only thing that I might suggest is give a radius around that pink area, or what you're going to be doing inside of that pink. You just need it inside of that pink box. But here's the thing: you now have the ability to upload a map of your dig area, just like this, and you don't have to put words in that extent, guys, because what we're seeing out in the field is somebody's attaching a map, but then the extent doesn't jive with the map. So you have to make sure that your extent, if you're going to type it out, matches that map. But again, I like to train and educate that these maps are gold. When you're a locator in the field, and again, I can see exactly what you want. This stuff is gold. But the only way that you can upload these maps, as Paula mentioned, is that you have to be a remote ticket entry user. You can't upload these without that. And it's the same thing when you're going to be viewing the responses. I've seen Stake Center put in information about what they've located on the gas. I've seen USIC talk about the different pair counts and things that they've located out there in the PEDs. Maybe there's a deadline. I've seen numerous pipeline operators when be doing field drainage work that they actually upload what they've located so you, the excavator, can see that. But the only thing, guys, the only way this works is if you give us a good email. Because if you don't give us a good email, you're not going to get the maps. You're not going to be able to see the code 60s, the code 30s that are extremely important for you to get. You're not going to get the 10s and the 20s, the notifications that when everybody has responded to your dig start date and time by the dig start date and time, if you receive all 10s and 20s, the next email from us is going to be your new dig start date and time. You're not going to know that unless you give us a good email on the front side. Back to you, Paula.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good point. So, another thing we're talking about emails. So, if you are a remote ticket entry user, I know lately everybody's kind of been wanting to do a universal email for their company so that everybody can kind of access that same email address for like Brian just talked about those code 30s and 60s and 50s and 51s and stuff that are coming through there that requires a response from you as the excavator. Having that universal email may not be such a bad idea. So if you do want to do that, reach out to myself or even the member service department, and we can easily update the email for that universal email for you guys as well. So it's going to go to that uh, I guess central hub for all of the information. So
That's another great point, Paula, that you bring up, is because with that positive response link, guys, that what Paula just showed you, you can check your ticket right from the field. I mean, I do it on my cell phone all day long. I do audits and look up tickets for people. And so you don't have to be tied to a computer. Again, you can do it from a phone, an iPad, a computer out in the field. But we've given you because here's the thing, and we've heard this for 25 years. I've been in this industry, and if we've only known that it wasn't located before we sent a crew, we've never sent a crew out there. So now, you excavators on the call, even you members on the call, you have the ability now to do that very thing. You'll be able to check before you go out. So one more thing I keep forgetting to mention. but please put your questions in the Q&A because we've got a whole team monitoring these. And like I said, we're going to start to read some of these out loud. But if you've got a question you're itching to get an answer to, please put it in that Q&A and we will take care of it for you. So
Yep, for
back to
sure.
you, Paula.
Okay, so then the other one thing I want to mention is for accessing the positive response where you post for the members. Okay, so again, go to the website. This one, you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and then you're going to see this blue button down here that says post a positive response. So if you click that, it's going to bring you to the sign in page. Brian mentioned earlier that if you do not have your login credentials for uh, your company yet, please reach out to us and get that done. I'll show you where you can do that if you haven't done that yet. But this, you can log in here, and this is where you're going to actually post your responses. Now, I want to mention because there's been instances where some of our members are having trouble getting in. You get a 404 error or something like that. Now, Newton or our developer for our software, it kind of likes to save passwords from one program to another program. So the first thing I always tell everybody to check is that if you are a remote ticket entry user, that you have completely logged out of your remote ticket entry login before you try and log into your positive response. Because what will happen is the positive response system will want to take your login from your remote ticket entry and try and plug it into the positive response system. And that does not work because you will have two completely different logins to be able to post your responses. Um, so that's one thing you can check. Another, probably the easiest thing you can do is open up either an incognito window or a private window in either Chrome or Edge, and that'll allow you to have both programs open. You can still have your remote ticket entry open, and then in the incognito window or private window, you can actually have the positive response one open. And we've also learned too just recently that with some of the iOS things, the it doesn't go back anything. I want to say was past 20, I think it's 5 years. So if you haven't updated your information, our system, you won't be able to use it on a smartphone or a tablet or anything like that. So you want to make sure that you have the most recent version of any of the updates that have taken place too. So, but I did want to mention that as far as um, you know, troubleshooting it, trying to
Yep,
get in there.
absolutely. So we do have a question here from Vicky Van Dyke. I would like to announce this one to the crowd if we may.
Uh-huh.
The question here is, what if we have all clears and responses before I dig on our ticket? Can we dig early? And that is a great question. So folks, remember earlier, if you are an excavator and you give us a good email address, you're going to receive emails from us, 10s and 20s and so on, about what's going on with your dig ticket. So the excavators, again, they're going to be responding through the positive response system to you with a series of codes. So yes, if you get all 10s and 20s, which are marked or cleared before that dig start date and time, you will receive an email from us stating everybody has responded and here's your new dig start date and time. So that is one of the great advantages about this tool, is that the members have to put, by law, an appropriate and accurate code into the positive response system before the dig start date and time. So absolutely, you can dig early in the event you get an email from us that's saying everybody is a 10 and or 20. For the anonymous question there, I saw your question and I have sent this over. I'm waiting for a response from Ameren to see what they would like to do with this. If not, I believe I've talked to you about this or I've heard about this. So I will give you a phone number if I don't get an answer by the time this webinar is over. So please stay with me on that. So appreciate you guys putting your questions in that Q&A. Again, that's really what we are looking for. And we'd like to please continue to put them in there.
Yeah, because 999, that actually means that they've not marked it. So that means it's a late final response. So potentially they could be fined for that. So I know that that's not that it
It's not the
probably is
proper code for that
it's not the proper
situation.
code. And I think it might just be an education piece that we need to educate Ameren on the appropriate
Yes.
code that needs to be entered there. So
But I want to get that answer for you today. I'm working on it behind the scenes, so bear with me.
So I'm kind of looking at some of the questions that we had in the past. So one of them is how can I learn more about the codes, positive response, the web page, training guide, recorded webinars, online courses, things of that type. So again, I'm at my web page here. So juliebeforeyoudig.com. This little icon here, positive response, that is all the information you need to know about positive response. So if you click on that, you kind of scroll down through here. This is going to give you some information. So we talked earlier about needing your login. So this is the area where you would need to get your access for a member. If you have an automated response where you have maybe a ticket management system, this is where you would go to get that API application. Manual logins, that would be something that you're going to be posting yourself. You can come here and fill out this form. There's a section here where it says click here for an explanation of codes and their uses. This is going to give you as the member the detailed list of the codes and what is going to happen once you post the codes, because some of them require a response from the excavator, and this will tell you that. Excavators are more than welcome to look at that too, so that you know what is expected there as well. The left side, this is for the excavator. So this is just going, you like I said, you guys don't need a login. You just need to be able to get to the display page, pull it up, be able to view it, and understand what you're looking at too. Understand what those codes are supposed to represent for you. Scrolling down a little bit further, then here's some training materials. So there is, let's see here, we've got the Julie Essentials for positive response. There's two of them there. There's one for excavators and there is one for members. So you can take a look at those. There's a whole bunch of other training material there as well. And then here in the webinars, these are already ones that we have recorded. You can feel free to take a look at those. There's even one, there's a 60-minute one to take a closer look at the codes. Feel free to look at that one. And then there's one called Beyond Reasonable Control, or a BRC. That's for mainly members or excavators that work for members. That would affect you. So you can take a look at those as well. Frequently asked questions, you can kind of scroll down through here and take a look at these. And then at any point you ever have any questions, you can reach out to my department, which is member info@julieonecall.com. And then there is a general email box of info@julieonecall.com. You can reach out to that as well. I believe Brian monitors that. So
Yes. We've got some fantastic questions in here in the Q&A, so we can start with
excellent.
some of these.
Sure.
So we get a question. Vicky's got some good ones here. So locators call and say they can't pull off our plats attached to the ticket. So we text them a picture of the plat on the cells. On cells, should I refer them to the positive response system? So yes, there's two things here. Number one is we had a issue where some of the locators were sending calls or emails to the excavator saying they couldn't see the maps that they attached. That's a different situation than actually checking the positive response system. So if a locator calls and says, I can't see the attachments, a lot of that's been kind of addressed though, hasn't it, Paula? I
I
don't
think
know
so.
that's one issue that could be happening, but you're right. You should be putting all of your information into that positive response system because again, how I want you all to think of the positive response system, it's a one-stop shop for that particular dig number. So everything about that dig number, tickets or the ticket type, the responses, any photographs, any information, it all gets attached to that ticket. And that stays there for a rolling 5 years. So those are the two potential things that could be happening. But again, folks, I want the excavators to know in the room that you can upload a map instead of going out and pre-marking with white paint stakes or flags on the job site. We gave you the ability to either do white paint stakes or flags out on the job site. You can verbally describe a pre-marking as long as it's narrow and explicit enough. Right away to right away, an entire property is not narrow and explicit enough. That's why the maps, if you may be working on that entire property, but as an example, maybe you're doing 12 soil borings on that property. And instead of calling in the entire property, you could actually mark 1 through 12 on the lavs. So when the locator is locating around those, I know it sounds silly, but think of it like this. They could count in their head. I'm their stakes 1, 2, 3, and then I'm jumping to 6, 7, 8. I've missed some of the stakes, right? So again, you can do that type of thing. So let me know, Vicky, if you continue to have issues with that. But those are the two scenarios that you could be facing.
I do want to mention too, Vicky, I don't know if you're a remote ticket entry user or not, but if you do choose to attach that map, you do still have to have something in your extent. So at least, if you say, I
That's
don't know, well, let's say it's the front of the property, and then you just add a note, see map for details, and then if the locators say that they can't get it, direct them to the display page like we talked about. Um, because they can download it or they can view it there. It just kind of depends on the formatting, I think it is. But like Brian said, we pretty much have that resolved. But if you still have that issue, send them here. And if they still can't get it, then you can continue to either text it to them or email it to them.
Thank you. Yep. And I failed to mention that. Yes. Please see attached map. But when I mean don't put anything in there, please see attached map. But again, I hope you understand it. The map is a great tool for somebody to see a job site recommended out there. So
For sure.
Amber, I apologize. I keep referring to members. Members are our members of Julie. They're the utility companies. So that's why I try to say when I'm talking to excavators, I'm kind of letting them clue in. And then if I'm talking to the members, I'm kind of letting them clue in. So I apologize about that one. But we've done the excavator examples. We're going to go into the member examples here in a moment, guys. I just want to get through some of these other questions. Who's got some great ones in here?
Okay, go ahead.
All right, let's just keep going about that. You want to, this one's for you. Can you explain the difference between e-request and RTE? Is RTE required now?
So the difference between eRequest and RT, let's start there. So e-request is you come, well, right here. It says submit online. So if you come here and you agree to this, now you have to fill in all of these fields. Once you fill in all of these fields and you hit submit or continue, go all through the process, you won't get a dig number instantly. What'll happen is it'll get suspended and it goes into a queue into the call center. When one of our agents has time, they go ahead and grab it. They pull that request up. If they are able to process the request based on the information that you submit, then they'll go ahead and process it for you and email you a copy of that completed locate request. Okay, so you're not finishing it. Remote ticket entry, you finish it. You are in control of the ticket. So if you go to the excavator section, and you come to remote ticket entry, you can click here. If you've never done remote ticket entry before, take a look at this information. So there's just some description here of some of the benefits of it. Here's some training dates because it is a 90-minute training required. Here's some or just the references really for active users, but there's some videos here if you want to see how it functions. Feel free to take a look at those. And remote ticket entry, I'm going to pop in here real quick. Um, Remote ticket entry looks like this. So completely different program. So now you're in control of what you're putting on the request. This is very, very similar to what the remote ticket, or excuse me, what the call center agents use when they process your locate request. So you still fill in everything in. What I feel is most beneficial is you're in control of the map. So if you go through my training, I'm going to show you multiple ways that you can create polygons. That's why I talk about polygons on the map itself. That's what identifies the members. So you're going to enter in the details. You're going to be creating that work area polygon. You're going to be able to attach those maps that we keep talking about. Also, if you're a remote ticket entry user, you will have the ability to be able to um, do joint meets. That's another added feature for remote ticket entry users. There's an additional training for that, and you'd have to have a separate login to get permissions to do that. But joint meets are an option now for remote ticket entry users. So that's the difference between the two programs. And no, neither one of them are required. Are they highly recommended? Absolutely. And remote ticket entry would be the suggested one just because it gives you more ability to keep your own wording in there. Like we talked about, the attachments is on there, so you're more in control of the request. So whereas the e-request, it's you have to use drop downs and like I said, it's going to get emailed into a queue in our office. But if we can't process it, we won't call you. It just gets aborted, and you'll get an email from us saying the reason why we could not complete that request. So either you have to phone into the call center to process it or submit another request with the corrected information.
Great question. Yep. We've got another one here that kind of ties into this, and we'll just go ahead and throw this one out there at the same time. So, how is positive response different than what was done in the past? Lots. You want to touch this one, or you want me to?
You
Either
go
one's
for
fine.
it. You can
All
do that
right.
one.
So, what did you have to have? What did you have in the past was nothing. So, you didn't know that the the job site would have been marked before the dig start date and time, right? So now you're actually getting to see in real time when utilities are responding to your locate request. You're getting to see in real time any comments, any photographs, anything that they put in there that they want to speak to you about. And most importantly, again, the one that I really like is that you guys, as an excavator or even as a member, whatever you're doing, you get to see if nobody's responded to your ticket or who is still not responded to your ticket, and you can call them in for a no-show right there. So yes, this ties into the question with the gym, so you can see where I'm going here. If you're getting a 999 code by the dig start date and time of your ticket, you can call them in right there from a no-show, guys. They have to respond. All utilities have to respond. Again, here's the law. There's the law part of it with an appropriate and accurate code by the dig start date and time. So if the code is wrong, the same rules still apply, guys. If you get a 10 out in the job site saying everything is cleared, you guys show up, you see a pedestal out there, you could still call in to the operators at the call center and say, look, there's clear evidence that something isn't marked. Obviously, it's the wrong code. We need to have these people come back out. So to answer your question, Jim, yes, if they have not confirmed through the dig start date and time on the 999 or some letting you know, and the phone's blowing up, letting them know that they have to respond through there. So a 999 is not a it's not one to leave it open. If anything, we need to have a we need to be talking about some of the 50s codes, but not this 999. So I am working with Hammer and guys on the back side here. So I'm trying to get answers to your questions about these 999s. So I'm still getting responses as we go through this. So both of you, please hang on to that question. I'm still trying to get you an answer.
So can I answer Danielle's question? So her question is,
Absolutely.
she's a remote ticket entry, and members send a response to the 50. Where does that response go? So the response is going to go to the email address that is on that ticket's email. So earlier I talked about if you have that universal email that maybe everybody can access, you can do that. But otherwise, it's going to go to that email address that is on your remote ticket entry program. So like I said, let's say I'm processing the ticket and it goes to my email at pbrowning@julie1call.com. But Brian is the guy in the field and Brian needs the information. Brian's the one that made the arrangements for an alternate marking agreement. Because I submitted it and my email is on that ticket, I'm the one that's going to get that email. Okay. So Brian needs to be telling me, hey, I made alternate marking agreements with, such and such company. If you get there, when you get that email, make sure you hit accept. So it'll do that. Now, if you don't hit accept, when the email comes through, it'll automatically accept it by midnight on that next day. So it'll automatically accept it for you. So probably not something you really need to worry about, unless of course it's you can't do it or whatever. But you will get the email that goes to the on that email account, or I'm sorry, the remote ticket entry account.
Still trying to work that Amber issue for everybody here.
And Danielle, hopefully
Multitasking at
that
its best.
answered your question too.
Okay, Brad, I got another great question here. Oh, I lost it. You see where it went, Paula?
I'm going back to it.
Oh, there
So
it is.
Okay, you got it?
yeah. So it says, as a member, when receiving a design locate, When responding to the person who requested the ticket, do do I then log into Julie to log a positive response? You can take that, Brian.
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
So he says, as a member, when receiving a design locate, when responding to the person who requested the ticket, do I then log into Julie to log a positive response? Talking about design tickets.
So you're going to respond. You can respond through a for a design stage in one of two ways, guys. You could either send the information to the positive response system if you are a member. The excavator can read the maps and anything that they've asked for there, or you could email them that. As long as you're reaching out and making that contact, guys, that's the main thing. So I hope that answers that question.
So, and I'm going to make a suggestion to that too. So in reference to that, Brad, is that um, when you have a design request, you're going to be limited to just the codes for the design. So you're going to want to say the one. I want to say it's a code 80. Let me pull that up real quick here, so I don't want to tell you wrong. Um, So code 80, yeah, planning design notification documents provided. So you do have a couple of options. So you can upload your documents to the positive response system, then your obligation to that design request is done. But if you would prefer to email them to that member directly, feel free to do that too. You're still going to choose that code 80 because that is the final response where it says provided documents. My suggestion is going to be in the comments section. Go ahead and tell them how you've provided them those documents. Because me as an excavator, if you tell me documents provided, I'm going to expect to see them there in the positive response system. And if there's nothing there, I'm going to go, hey, what happened? But if you say, choose that code 80, comment section is open on every single code. Put that comment in there. Say, email to bmckenzie@julieonecall.com or, email to whomever or mailed them or provided link or whatever the case may be. That would be your options there. But again, if you're not going to attach them in the positive response system, use that comment section to tell them where you did send them.
Vicky's going to be including her guys. I've got a phone number for Ameren that I wanted those two folks to call. She's going to put it in the chat for us, guys. If you don't get where you need after today, after I give you this phone number, I can give you another direction to go, to try to get you an answer. But I've given you a damage prevention manager for Ameren to reach out to because he said he's curious to talk to you guys and wants to know your dig number. So that number will be coming your way shortly. Try to give that a shout and let me know how that works out, please.
If we do get an all clear, coded 10 and 20, and get a new earlier dig start date, does that also move up the expiration date of the dig number? No. So the expiration date, that's not going to change. So the dig by date and the expiration date are always based on the day the ticket was processed. So even if they give you an earlier time or anything, that 10 days and the 25 days is always going to remain the same. So that will not adjust. The only time the 25 days adjusts is if you start the work within that the begin date, those first 10 days. Then you can extend it for an additional 25 days. But that's the only time that expiration date will ever change. If that's you as the excavator have requested additional time doing an extension. Good question.
Great questions. Yes. Keep those questions coming, folks. We got at least another 25 minutes here with you today. We could still go over some of these ones that we have as soon as we can answer any of your questions. But again, if you have something specific that you want to drill down on, we can at least try to get you in the direction that you need to be.
Yeah, so I have one here too, Brian. Maybe you want to answer this one. So it says, what if I receive a code 90 stating that the work has already been completed, but I've not done any of the work yet?
That's a good one. Great question. Locators out in the field should not be determining if you've started or finished your work yet or not. That's not their responsibility. But if you do happen to get a code 90, say excavation was completed prior to dig start date and time, you just simply call back in the call center and say, I did not complete my work. This is again, It has to be an appropriate and accurate code. And in that particular case, it wasn't appropriate or accurate because you didn't obviously start your work or finish your work. So that's what you do with this one.
Yep.
Great. Good questions.
We've
So
got
let's see.
another one from Erica in the chat, in the
Okay.
Q&A.
I think I
Let's,
already answered that one.
Okay.
yep.
Yep.
Answered that
Sorry.
one. Got that one. So let's see. What other questions do we have here going forward? And again, I just want to point out, because I know it's on everybody's mind, if you do receive 10s and 20s before your dig start date and time, again, 10s and 20s, that means marked or cleared, you may start your excavation early. You will receive an email from us. But again, the only way you're going to receive that email is if you have a good email address for us to get a hold of you. Let's see, what else do we have, Paula?
Um, so looking at the other questions we had, and I think we kind of touched on this earlier, but maybe we need to talk about it a little bit more, is what is a 999 code and what does it mean?
Great. So 999 again is a late final response. So as Paula had showed you earlier, well, we still got to go to the member side, Paula. So we'll probably, that's what we'll do. We'll take a few more on the excavator side and then we'll jump
Okay.
into the how we do the members. But so the 999 guys, this is for both sides because again, the member companies who make up Julie, also some of them excavate. So up in the top, if you recall, if you want to pull that back up, Paula, we could just run through that one more time.
For the excavator side?
Yeah, let's just show them one more time here, just so everybody can, again, have a feel. So here it is, folks. You're going to put your dig number in there at the top. Paula just happens to have one. You'll hit the search button, and there you go. At the top detail again, there's your dig number, there's your street, there's your cross street, and there's your locate by. Again, you'll see that this contractor was excellent enough to give us an electronic pre-mark, so they have attachments there for us to view. It just happens to be the dig area. Again, you can upload maps to your excavation now. And in fact, it's highly recommended. In the contents or in the extent, please put see attached map. And again, as I point out, and I want to go ahead and say this just to help you guys, if you're doing a linear job and you're marking a white lines down the street and you just say locate that white line, the tolerance zone on that, guys, is 5 feet either side of that mark. So if you're going to do a signpost and you say locate here, and you do not give a radius, that default radius is 5 foot. So you, the excavator, control the radiuses that you need. Again, if it's going to be a signpost and you say it locate right here, all you have is 5 foot. Give yourself room to move, guys, because you don't know what has been located in that area. Maybe ask for a 15 or 20 foot. What I'm going to beg you not to do is if you're repairing a water service, please do not ask for a 100-foot radius of the water meter pit in front of the house. That's excessive, guys. Again, the whole point of this is to be narrow and explicit enough to prevent overmarking. So again, getting back to this response display, here's what we call it. The next tab is everybody pending. These are people that you are waiting for marks from. The one underneath that, these are the ones that have responded to your locate request. And you'll notice in the responses, guys, these are all 10s and 20s at this point. So we are waiting for the members in that pending section. So let's fast forward to 12/12/26, and it's 12:01 a.m., and you want to start this excavation. You go to the positive response system, and if these folks are still pending in that section, and it's past your dig start date and time, you may call in the call center and report them as a no-show. Because again, they have to put an appropriate and accurate code into the positive response system by that locate by dig number up or the locate date up at the top there. Okay. All right, with that, Paula, should we start? Do we have any more questions from the excavators before we go to the member side?
I'm not seeing anything right now, so we can come back to that if we need to. No big deal.
Okay.
All right, so we kind of talked about troubleshooting already. So if I click here and I'm going to log in, let me see if this is going to work for me. All right, bear with me here a second. Sorry about that. Oh. I'm going to have to go to a test link real quick.
Just remember, excavators out there, all responses have to go through this positive response system. If you recall last year when you guys were having to go out and look for OKs on the ground or keep track of numerous emails from this company, who called me, what's this? This one's asking for extra time. I don't really know what's going on. This is what the positive response system does. It keeps all the responses about that ticket in this nice little area, holding area for you for the next 5 years. And again, it's a rolling 5 years. So this is extremely crucial to use this.
See if I got the right one here.
Okay. So your OKs, guys, are not going to be out on the field. They're going to be in this positive response system, and your OKs are going to be a 10. 10s are cleared.
Okay, so do you see the display here?
Yep. Now we're in
Okay.
Shadahan.
All right, so I'm in the test server, so these, if you log in for the first time and you're in the do section, that's that yellow highlighted at the top, these are all the tickets that are in kind of your queue that have not received a response yet from you as the member, okay? We keep talking about the brief description. So the first column is going to give you the ticket number. Then it's going to give you the priority. So emergency, shorts, and any rushes are automatically going to go to the top. Those are the ones that are crucial that you get those taken care of right away. Response due. So again, this is going to be the date and time that the ticket is due. It tells you the types. So some of the types that you're going to see there is new, retransmits, updates, cancels, things of that type. Category, they're all going to say LREQ. Some of them might say design. Most of them are going to say LREQ. That just stands for a locate request. Then you got the member code. So there might be instances that you have multiple codes that you're marking for. Maybe you've broken out your facility types. Maybe this code might have a 0A for water, then they got a 1A for the storm sewer, they got a 2A for the sanitary sewer, got a 3A for the street lights. Who knows? All of those codes are going to show up here. Okay, then you're going to have the brief description, the county, the city or township name, and then the street, that's going to be the address that the work's going to be taking place at. Okay, so I'm just going to pick one. Let's see. So this one gets due. So let me just grab that one. Okay, so man, that's probably a bad one to pick. We talked about the late final notices. So you can see this one, we're in the test server, so it's all going to be 999s for all of them. But these all mean that they have not posted a response to this ticket. It's going to come, those 999s are going to come up every single day for 25 days until that ticket gets past that expiration date. You as a member are going to get a late summary report every night showing the tickets that you've not posted a response to yet. I highly recommend, let me back up here a second, highly recommend that if you get a ticket that doesn't show up here that you have not posted a response to, go to your ticket and you can actually type that ticket number in there and it'll show you if you've responded to that request or not. View it there. If you've not responded to it, go ahead and put your response in. Coming back to the do section, let me grab a different one. Maybe this will give me, no, it's still going to be 999s. So those will come up if you have not responded to it. But top portion here, it's going to give you the ticket number. Again, it's going to give you the priority, the type of ticket, telling you it's a locate request or design or whatever it is. It's going to tell you the work type and then a brief description of the ticket. So it'll give you the county, the place, and the address. Now, I will mention this. Many of our members have already requested to be able to view the full ticket here, which would include the extent of work, the boring, the depth, all that information. They're requesting that it's listed here. We have put in a request to our developer to see if that is possible. So we are hearing you. We are listening to your requests. So give us some time on that one, but it's in there. So right now, this is currently what you have. So if you need the extent and everything, you do have to go back to how your ticket is delivered to you. Okay. Then the next section, responses. So if you want to post a response specifically for maybe the traffic signals, you can actually click on just the traffic signals. And then if I hit this little drop down here, these are all the eligible codes for this particular facility type. And the reason I say that is because if you submit a joint meet request, you only have a limited number of codes that you can do for joint meets. Design, same thing. You only have a limited number of codes that you can post for design requests. Okay, so this is going to come up for that. And if you've marked it, you can go ahead and choose marked. If you want to add a URL or a link to some mapping or anything like that, you can include that. Again, I mentioned about comments. You can put comments on every single response. So if you want to make a note there, this is that section I talked about, the design tickets. That's the section where you would add that information about how you've sent the documents to the requester. That's that section. Then attachments, if you have any attachments for any reason, you can include those. If it's those files that you want, you just click on it. It's going to attach to your computer. You can attach 20 documents per facility type, not per ticket, but per facility type. And in here, if you're a remote ticket entry user, you're familiar to me talking about this already. There's different formats that you can take. Hovering over that, there's the file types that we'll accept. And then the size of each document can be 40 megabytes in size. Okay. So let's say we'll attach both of these here. And we'll go ahead and it tells them then it's 2 files. And once I hit respond, you already saw what it looked like for the excavator side. It'll be the same thing for the member side for that. I just want to make sure I want to make sure I'm in the test server. And if I hit respond, it's going to upload my files. There it says file completed. And then down here, you've got, it'll say code 20, the date and time that you actually posted the response. If you listed a comment, it's there. If you included a URL, it's there. And then the attachment would also be there. Now, with that being said, let's go back to our display page. I don't know if it probably won't take it because I was on test server. So, but it's still a good example because they've already posted here. So in this case, let's see, no attachments, but you can see the comments that I talked about. So if that URL was there and then the attachments for this particular ticket, I put one on there on the test server though. That's why they didn't get carried over to here. But this is that field where those attachments from the member would also be. All right, let me go back over here. Okay. And then that ticket is actually going to clear from your queue also. But you can always come back to the ticket number and you can always type that ticket number in there. And, oh, come on. It's an old ticket, that's why. And then, so again, I can pull up what I actually posted. So this is, you can review it again. So again, it's for traffic signals marked and then the attachment that I included. So.
Great. Let's see.
So if you're talking about for the members, yes. So you would have to actually come into the positive response system. You won't get an email. You'll get your ticket delivered normally. So if you receive your tickets via email, you would get, like Shanahan's ticket would get delivered to you. You would be able to view it how you normally would. The only difference is when you want to post the response, you have to come to the website, go down to post your positive response, and then that ticket that you got delivered to you is going to be in your list there on this due page. And then you can click on that and it'll take you to that where you can post the responses.
That's another great question. And since we're on that topic of Shanahan, I have a hard time saying that. Guys, I'm going to talk to the members. I'm going to talk to utility companies now. you guys have to respond for every utility facility that you own, operate, or that are on there. So there was a question on there about Illinois American Water, and they're responding to some of their codes, but not all of them. So yes, again, as Paul had mentioned, if everything is still in that 999, the excavators will call in as a no-show. That's how it's being educated and trained. So
Mhm.
if you guys have storm sewer, sanitary sewer, street lights, water, it does require a response for each utility facility. Also, guys, since we're on the topic of Illinois American Water and self-locating, things like that,
Mhm.
if you guys call in your own ticket to fix a water main, it's going to sound crazy, I know, but you still have to close the ticket through the positive response system by the dig start date and time.
Yeah.
I realize it's your water, but you're still on the ticket. You're still going to get that 999. So, however you're going to do that in the beginning, it's completely up to you whether you're going to put the marked or cleared in the beginning or you're going to wait until the crew goes out and locates it. However you're going to do it, it still requires a response, okay, for each one that you own. And I'll go a step further. If you are a member on the call and you are getting storm sewer where you don't have any storm sewer, reach out to us and we can get those polys adjusted for you or get that removed off of there. So if you're getting tickets where you shouldn't be, then let's have a look at your polys in your areas and see if we can get that corrected for you.
That's actually a very good point. And I was just going to mention that too. So we're getting to the point where we're getting ready to send out our annual summary statements to the members. That's your opportunity to review how your tickets are delivered, who the contacts are, how your after hours are set up, your nighttime hours are set up, your holidays are set up. That is your opportunity to view those. Now that goes to your Julie coordinator. So if you don't know who that is, might want to check that out. If you're uncertain of who that is, contact the member service department and they can tell you who that coordinator is because they're going to receive the information. So I've just my experience in the past, well, the past couple of months since positive response has kind of gone live. I've got several members that have called that said, we don't have storm sewer that's on there. No problem. We can easily take that off because right now, if you don't tell us that, you're required to respond to that. And if you don't respond to the storm sewer that is listed on your ticket, that's going to generate a 999. Whether you cleared or marked the water, the traffic, the sanitary sewer, if you've marked or cleared everything else but the storm sewer, your member is still going to get a late notice, which potentially could result in fines. So please update that information, if especially if you don't have it. We want to make sure that that's accurate in our system. And Brian talked about breaking out facilities too. If you only have, like I talked to a town the other day, they only maintain the streetlights in like their downtown area, but the city obviously expands further than that. But they're notified for streetlights throughout their entire town, but they didn't need it. So we can narrow that down and break it out to maybe a 1A code. And now when only someone's digging in the downtown area do they get the notifications. So that might be something you need to consider too.
Fantastic. Absolutely. Let's see here. Do we have any other ones? Getting down to the get down to the wire here, guys. Um, Another thing I will throw out there, we've said it a couple times again. So now we're on the member side here. We're on the utility side. So if you guys are thinking, wow, I don't have a username and password, that's number one, guys. We've got to get your username and password. And be thinking about this, guys. If you have crews that are working during the day and you have night crews that go out that are going to be responding through the positive response system, they should have their own username and password as well. You want to tell them, Paula, what happens when you're logged into both at the same time?
Oh yeah, you mean with
Remote ticket entry and
oh yeah. Well, we kind of already talked about that. So you actually can't do both of them at the same time. So you log into remote ticket entry, and if that'll try and save it over to your positive response logging, you'll get an error every time. So yes, make sure you're completely logged out of, and that's another thing too. I talked about opening up that incognito window. If you don't know how to do that, this is how I do it. This is the easiest way possible. So I use Chrome as my browser. So at very bottom where you'll see that the Chrome icon, if you right click on that, it's going to bring you kind of that column. And there's one that'll say new incognito window, or I think Edge says private. I think I got Edge over here too. Uh, So yeah, it says new private window for Edge. So if you open up that separate window, it's not going to save your login credentials from remote ticket entry to the positive response. So you can keep both of them open at the same time. So yeah, that's an option. Another thing that, and this came up in one of my meetings the other day. Um, Someone had asked if on emergency requests, if there's a 3 hour response now instead of two, like it's always been in the past.
Good
So, Brian, I
question.
don't know if you want to respond to that one.
Fantastic question. I wish we had a ticket I could pull up and show you, but so the dig start date and time, this is one we see a lot. And I'll give you an example. You called an emergency, it's due at 8 a.m. It's up at the top, you see dig start time, 8 a.m. But then at the bottom, you see this, what is this response time by 9? So what it is that the municipalities are allowed another hour, an extra grace period hour to go out and close this on the positive response system. So what it is, you're like your contract locators and your other folks, they have computers, they can close it out right there on the scene. But some of the municipalities may have to go back to the office to close that ticket. So we allow a 1 hour grace period for municipalities to respond to the positive response system. It didn't change your dig start date and time. It's still in my example, it's still the 8 a.m., but they have to get a response in by that 9. Anything you want to add to that one, Paula?
No, that's a great the grace period. That's how I always like to look at it. So
Yes.
to Brian's point, it's they still have to respond within the 2 hours or the start date and time listed on the ticket, but they allow them that one extra hour just to be able to get back to the office, maybe post that response or maybe pack up their equipment and get it on the truck. That gives them a little bit of leeway to get it into the response system. But yes, they do still have to have it done within the 2 hours or the dig start on the ticket. So
Covers longer.
yeah. I do want to talk about code 50 and 51 for a minute, if that's okay. So
Yeah.
I might actually pull up. So I want to bring this up because um, code 50, it's an alternate marking agreement. Ultimately, what that means is the member has reached out to you as the excavator and spoke with you and asked, "Hey, I can't get this done in by the dig start date time on your ticket. Is okay if we put it out maybe another 24 hours and maybe another 48 hours or whatever the case may be, another 2 days. You guys need to have that discussion to come up with an alternate marking agreement. And I say that because then the member, after they've had that conversation with you as the excavator, they're required to come back to the system and they're going to go ahead and choose a code 50 on the list. Okay. It says locator and excavator agreed to a documented alternate marking agreement. Okay. So if I click that, you're going to see there's going to be required fields from the member to post in here. We need to know the excavator contacted who they spoke to, basically, ultimately what that means. The phone number that they use, the proposed start date and time that they're requesting. Then they also have to listen or list who they contact or the date and time that they contacted that person on. So then what that is going to do is generate an email from Ocars Pro. That's the Julie software that's going to be sending the emails. So this goes back to, I think it was Erica's question about where does that email go. So, okay, code 50, going to generate that email. It's going to go to the email address listed on that ticket. Okay. So then that person, the excavator, is going to say, "Oh yeah, I talked to Brian. We're good. That's the date and time we talked about. Wonderful." They're going to hit accept. So that's where into the positive response system, now it's going to be the new date and time that's listed in this field where it says proposed due date. That's the new date and time that's going to be listed in the positive response system. It's not going to change on your ticket. It's going to be in the positive response system. Okay, so you should automatically see that. Now, if you don't, say you had that conversation, you don't have time to get to that email, don't worry about it. That's okay. Our system will automatically accept it for you. Okay, now another one that'll come through would be a code 51. Code 51 is only going to be for members or excavators that work for Julie members. Code 51 is for that beyond reasonable control that I talked about. So if you're a remote ticket entry user or you contact the call center to process the request or even through e-request, you'll get that little pop-up window for RTE and e-request that says you're in a high volume area. And on the front end, it's going to ask you if you can give those additional 2 days for the locators to mark for you because it's a high volume area. We encourage you to do that. And if you do that and you give that 2 days on the front end, it's not going to be carried over to the positive response system. That code 51 is not going to be eligible for an additional 2 days. But now if you say no, I need that by that date and time, that's okay. You can do that because sometimes there's scheduling issues. You have to have that done. So you can say deny, but then it also makes it eligible for a 51 in the positive response system. Okay, this particular ticket does not have an eligible 51, so it's not going to be here, but it'll be a code 51, and the member can actually request that. So they would just hit 51. Again, that's going to generate another email to you as the member. And if it comes to you, again, you can accept or deny it. It's going to be that big old green accept or red deny. If you deny it, you need to give an explanation as to why. If it's a scheduling thing or equipment coming in or crews from out of state coming in, whatever the case may be, you need to document that. But if you don't do either, accept or deny, code 51 is automatically going to accept it. So it'll automatically give those 2 additional days. And again, that's only going to show up in the positive response system as well.
That's a fantastic way to end it, I think. We're past our 9:30, guys.
We are, sorry.
Hey, it's you can see how we're very passionate about this program, guys, because again, we've heard for a number of years that we've only known it wasn't marked, we would have never sent a crew. So we're all in on this thing. We believe in it 100%. Again, when the appropriate and accurate codes are entered, this thing is just absolutely a wonderful tool. It really, really is. So with that, we appreciate you being here today. Any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And with that, we say have a very safe day. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.
Yep. Thanks, Brian.
Bye.